Oh, hey, good evening. You found your way to the Deep Shot Monday night live stream. We intend to answer as many burning fantasy playoff questions as you might have, while also talking through whatever that was that we just saw in week 15. I'm Andy. He's the great Dalton Del Don. Back from IR, we activated him off of IR. Our respective NFL teams are on a collision course, going to meet in Week 17. Couple of clear Super Bowl contenders. Dalton, what's up? What's happening? How you feeling?
Doing great. Happy to be back. Thanks for doing it solo last week. No HIPAA violations. No worries. I will reveal I had an eye injury. It was actually an eye ulcer, which I did not even realize existed was a thing. And that can be serious if it like was on my cornea, but thankfully it wasn't. So I rested it for a week. We're back in action.
Was
And
this from watching too much Bo Nix? Is that what it was?
yeah. They could have made a few jokes that way, but Nick's actually balled this weekend.
He was
But
great. He knocked me
yeah,
out of a playoff matchup that I should have won. He was
eyes are
very
good to
good.
go. Chloe's MRI came back clean on both her knees, so we're good there. Even more importantly than my physical state. And yeah, your Bears are balling. And what about Trevor Lawrence, guys? We were high on a guy we were both high on before the year, and I don't know about you, but I completely wrote him off and said that was a bad call. And now here we are. And all we needed was Jacoby Myers to fill in the slot, and apparently, in all honesty, a little more time in the Cohen system. But wow, a six-pack, a touchdown. Hopefully, you weren't facing T. Law or Kyle Pitts in your fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna get into first of all, were you? Did you how many teams do you have alive in the semis?
I have a few. I haven't actually done the count, but I've had like five, I believe, had buys. So that's felt like a good
Uh-huh.
thing. And then a few other. It's hard to tell with the NFFC because it's not head to head. But I think I have
Yeah.
three live in NFFC, including a prime time that died with the Cowboys stack facing the Vikings and Rashi Rice. So that one's dead. I have one RotoWire championship that did pretty good week, and then honestly, I was watching my wife was a battle. I beat her and knocked her out of one, and that was always that's tough. But I don't have anything coming down to the Monday night game that I'm aware of, other than Jalen Warren in an NFFC. I do hope that he is active and gets me points. Other than that, but
I
yeah, I didn't face Pitts or T Law, thankfully.
I did face Kyle Pitts and overcame Kyle Pitts mostly because I matched him with Trey McBride. It was a pretty good week, not a perfect week for me. I have a couple of very live like best ball team underdog teams, but I think the best of them probably I actually haven't even checked underdog yet. I'm too afraid. I think it got knocked out, and it was a Dak Pickens Ferguson. It was a situation that looked really good given I think it's Washington that they play in week 17, right? So like the end of season could have looked really really good for that team, but I'm fairly confident it got crushed this past week.
Yeah, brutal. Just remembering now. I actually did. I think Pitts is going to knock me out of. You're in too many leagues, Andy. You know how it goes. But
Yeah.
I had Bijan in that one and lost out. Pitts scoring three times the amount of touchdowns. What was it? 21% of his career fantasy points, or something in one game. That was
Yeah.
a pretty wild one for a standalone as well. On your Bears get a couple standalones that are exciting. So Saturday night, right? That's the big matchup, and then Sunday night, Niners with the Bears just conveniently get 2 days extra rest. The Niners will be coming on a road matchup. They'll be on the road Monday night. It would have been perfect if the Colts had knocked off the Seahawks and then coming off a dramatic win, but instead, Colts are going to be frisky, and then the Bears get a whole, coming off Saturday. Yeah,
That Niners game is such a trap game. Nobody takes them seriously. It's sandwiched between the Packers and Lions. Those are real opponents. Those are real teams we have to
Yeah.
contend with. No, I'm really excited for it. Like we fly out for the holidays on Saturday, and I was petrified that it was going to conflict with the Bears start time. So we're flying very early. And I'm gonna fully enjoy it. It's nice to have those games like on a night when you're not expected to be very online and like writing your way through it or anything like that. So I can just fully be a meathead fan for that one.
Definitely.
I wanna circle back because Trevor Lawrence just gave us 40 plus points depending on your scoring format. I'm in a bunch of leagues where he scored like 55 crazy point totals. I feel like Trevor Lawrence was a pretty obvious recommended play coming into a matchup with the Jets, and I feel like this has a lot more to do I mean, I feel like Trevor Lawrence has demonstrated that we can start him when the matchup is good, and he can be a source for, not only a good week, I mean, but like a week that tilts your matchup and swings the entire season for you. So like, but I don't know that Trevor Lawrence is somebody that I'm gonna run it back with against, say, Denver in Week 16.
Oh, totally fair. The matchup helped. But yeah, it's fantasy wise, it's certainly helping that he's running more. And the weeks that he does run, that's when you see the ceiling. But yes, this was just against a team that wasn't fighting back much. But I was actually kind of thinking more, is Jacksonville actually, for real, or at least be taken seriously? Their defense, I kind of never have been. But I don't know how great you care about success rate. But entering this last week, I believe that Trevor Lawrence led the league in success rate since the Jacoby Myers trade. And there's something to Brian Thomas, my guy, his inability to play the slot, move him out more natural outside, and Myers in that role that maybe Hunter could have filled if he stayed healthy. But, Myers never drops balls, and it makes sense to take time to learn that Cohen system. So I don't know, the former number one overall pick, maybe this team has a little bit more upside than I gave him credit for. But you're right. In fantasy, he's more matchup based. And last week was obviously a completely terrific one. He threw 4 touchdown passes to his running backs. I mean, that is just wild.
I do feel like, most people said it at the time. We said it at the time. I know I said it at the time. Jacoby Myers was like the exact type of receiver that Jacksonville did not have, right? They had at the time of the trade, I think they had 3 guys that were all like among the top 10 in the league in terms of drop rate. Nobody could hold on to a ball. Nobody was, it's one of those things that always makes the quarterback look bad, but you don't know whose responsibility it is when quarterback and receiver are clearly not on the same page. The quarterback's throwing to a spot where the receiver is not. You don't always know who to blame. People generally, again, blame Lawrence for those situations, but like Myers is just a total pro. Never drops a pass. I don't think he's been credited with more than 4 drops in any season. Just incredibly reliable, and he's always going to be where he's supposed to be. So like, natural fit for a team that needed precisely that.
Yep. No, I did not expect that to be the difference between them, going from league average to one of the best units, and obviously schedule has helped. But this team has my attention in a wide open year. I mean, obviously Mahomes, we got to mention that. The Chiefs are done. Poor Mahomes tore his ACL, Micah Parsons. But it's a wide open year more than I can remember. And maybe I call Denver, a soft 1 seed. Maybe they are the best team. It is definitely open. If I had to pick a team, I said entering last week, I would have picked the Bills, but obviously it's better after winning in New England. But they were down 21-0 there. It really is a wide open year, and now suddenly the Jacksonville with the defense that creates turnovers and really hard to run against, they're suddenly maybe more of a contender than I gave them credit for.
Yeah, you mentioned the Mahomes injury. Let's kind of start with the injuries, I guess. The week was dominated really by 2 of them that will legitimately reshape the NFL landscape, I think. Mahomes and Micah Parsons tore ACLs, and those are, not to exactly put Micah Parsons on the same level as Patrick Mahomes, but I don't know. There's a defensive equivalent. I mean, he's somebody who's really sort of changed the equation for Green Bay. What else? Christian Watson has a chest injury. It's not clear if he's going to be able to play on Saturday or not. It's a quick turnaround, so that may hurt his chances. Devontae Adams, aggravated hamstring issue. RJ Harvey has a rib issue. Not sure yet how serious that is. Ricky Pearsall may have re-injured himself. He played through it. He gave us his best game since returning, so we'll see what his status is. What else? Jaden Daniels finally shut down. They should have done it a month ago. They certainly should have done it if they realized at any point that he was not going to be able to withstand normal standard issue NFL contact. It's crazy they didn't do it immediately after the game, but it's done. We're not going to see Daniels the rest of the year. It's going to be Marcus Mariota. Last one, big one in my life. The Bears are now saying that all options are on the table regarding Rome Odunze's return. I think that they've limited all options to worst case scenario being they shut him down for a period of weeks to make sure that they have him in the playoffs. You didn't happen to get burned by, I mean, Rome was active for the game and then aggravated the injury in warmups. and literally, if you're watching the Fox broadcast, you went right from Jay Glazer telling you that Roma Dunze was active and gonna play, and then they cut away to field conditions, and they immediately tell us Roma Dunze actually not gonna. He's in street clothes. There he is on the sidelines trying to stay warm. Did you get burned by that?
Thankfully, not in any fantasy lineups, but my ranks definitely suffered because of it. I had DJ Moore down further than I would have for sure, and that was a surprise. I missed.
Yeah,
the
it
news.
happened at the exact moment that ranks locked. So I don't know how many people could have possibly got him out.
I noticed the shift. I up like within 10 minutes, and I'm like, what? And I just didn't hear any other news, so I just assumed something happened there, or I didn't know that he was suddenly aggravated it and then out. And then your guy Burden, who looks just like a future alpha, and he made
star.
And they're both healthy. I'm thinking I would rather Burden than Odunze next year. I don't think that's crazy. But now he suffered an ankle injury too, right? So that's not ideal if they're both banged
He did.
up.
I didn't think it. Whatever. Not a doctor. He didn't turn it in some sort of like really gross way. Like it caught on the turf. It definitely turned.
The lowest of all ankle sprains. Very
the
low.
Lowest of low ankle sprains. Yeah. I'm going to be shocked if they're calling him day to day. It kind of looked like a day to day situation. The game got out of hand. A rare Bears game that did not come down to a final possession. So the game got a little bit out of hand, and they didn't need to force the issue with Burden. I hope that's what it is. But yeah, I think both he and Colson Loveland look like stars, actually.
And Komet had to get helped off too, so maybe Loveland could be looking at suddenly from going from a bunch of target competition to like, oh, this guy could be a top five.
Komet came back to the game
he came back in that game?
After
wow,
needing a lot of help.
Yeah. I did not know he came back. Wow, I missed that one. Wow. He
didn't just like get visited and walk off comfortably. Like he walked off very uncomfortably, and you were like, oh man, this is going to be multiple weeks. And then I think he was back on the next series. Like I don't, whatever. I'm sure it hurt in the moment, but he seemed like he was okay and is probably going to be good to go. But messy week for injuries. I gotta say, as somebody who's been writing a waiver wire column all year, it's not great on the waiver wire. I mean, there are guys that you can kind of sort of squint and get excited about a little bit, but you really got to talk yourself into, people are going to have to replace Patrick Mahomes if they got through with Patrick Mahomes somehow. And there are options at quarterback. There's always options at quarterback, but it's like CJ Stroud in a good matchup. Every matchup apparently is good for Jacoby Brissett. JJ McCarthy looked pretty frisky. We could talk about him later, but there's not a lot at receiver and running back among players who are actually available in like 50% of leagues. You have to dial up the roster percentage to try to even squeeze some good names into the column. So it's not great, but hopefully, I don't know if you're still alive in the fantasy semifinals. Hopefully part of the reason that you're alive is that you have great players who are relatively healthy, and you're not desperate for a Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt type.
Some thoughts on the injuries. The Packers offense really suffered after Watson went down. Of course, a week of practice could help that, but man, he looks like an important piece. So hopefully that is not serious.
I should also say that his dad tweeted that his son is fine.
Good.
And and that fits with some of the reporting that it's not, they looked at the lungs, they looked at a bunch of things, and it doesn't seem like it's terribly severe. Also, his dad tweets a lot, and he comes at people, so his dad says a lot of things. But one of the things that he said, I think late at night on Sunday, was that his son was fine.
Good to hear. And then Ricky Pearsall, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong because Drew Brees was pronouncing it wrong throughout that game. I think right before we were recording this, Shanahan said he aggravated his PCL and ankle, so he might miss time. He went down. It looked like he was going to be out for the game immediately, the first play. Then he returned, but he definitely hobbled off at the end. He's not going to be 100% till next year, and he may miss this coming week, it sounds like. But Jennings has been pretty good himself. And then quickly, Woody Marks would be the only other guy you didn't mention, and the Jordan looked good, and he would be a possible waiver wire add if Marks misses time, but it sounds like he's okay. So that injury cost Marks a big game. It was frustrating. Had a good week otherwise, DFS. Thank you, Colby Parkinson. But Marks, he returned to the game, scored a touchdown, and he said he could have re-entered, but he would have just racked up those yards. Jordan looked good, the first and only Texan to have running back to reach 100 yards this season, but obviously the matchup and game script helped.
He got most of it or half of it on one play. A great play, an absolutely great play. He, a 50-yarder looked pretty explosive, like kind of cut on a dime. I thought he looked good. It was a little Jerome 40 for me, which is not necessarily an insult. I don't know. In the right situation with volume, Jerome Ford could be fine.
But at home against the Raiders, if there's a starter, if there's one guy getting the ball at home against the Raiders, even if it's a Jordan guy off the free agent, you would consider him.
I didn't emphasize him in the waiver wire thing because
I think Marks is fine.
Both Coach and Marks, I think, have since said that I think he would have come back into a more competitive game.
Totally.
Monday night, you said you don't need anything. I'm in the worst kind of situation heading into Monday Night Football where like I don't need someone to do a thing for me. I'm just rooting against a point total for Aaron Rodgers, right? I need Aaron Rodgers to come in at like I think it's 17.65 fantasy points or less, which is it's like right on the projection in this league. And this is a league, I'm not going to spend the entire show complaining about it, but this is a league where I'm the 1 seed and I'm facing an 8 seed. I'm here to tell you, 8 seeds should not exist, Dalton. I'm gonna lose to at least one 8 seed this week, and I might lose to this one too. And I'm gonna freaking lose it if that happens. I hate the notion of an 8 seed. I mean, hey, go get a bye in the consolation bracket. We don't need 8 teams cluttering this thing up. We need the regular season to count for something, Dalton.
Yeah, I led my athletic column last week talking about what are the best ways. I was taking some suggestions too because I've yet to discover the perfect way. There certainly isn't a perfect way, frankly. What's the fairest way? And I embedded your tweet on that exact subject, saying that the 8 teams are no good if there's not 2 buys. You
used to play in Super League, which was run by our former Yahoo colleague Charles Robinson, right?
Oh yeah,
you were in Super League.
Yeah.
So that we had 8 playoff teams in that,
but that was like 20.
It was
teams
20. It was a 20-team league, and that is where I begin to think, okay, 8 is fine. Because even the 1 seeds in those leagues, I mean, it would be nice to get a bye as a 1 seed in a friggin' 20-team league. In any league, I feel like buys are good. I always felt like I believe that the Yahoo default was 4 playoff teams in 10-team leagues, and like it. I actually did used to think that Yahoo should have. This is a free suggestion that I'll continue to give because I gave it for almost 20 years. There's no reason why they shouldn't change the playoff format to 6 teams, 2 on bye, obviously, and then 4 that are playing in week 15 because it keeps more people involved, keeps more people engaged with the content, keeps more people clicking ads. It's crazy that they only had 14 playoffs.
And I always institute the 6th seed should be the highest scoring team just because head-to-head is just obviously unfair. You could have literally be winless and have the most points in your league and not make the playoffs of the 6th seed, which creates another problem because that 6th seed's oftentimes better than the 5 and 4 because it's points. So for the advantage, home field advantage, we allow the 3 seed to pick their opponent, and then the next round, the 1 seed to pick between the remaining, not the 2 seeds. So again, no perfect way.
I feel like, I'm sympathetic to the teams that finish with like the highest or second highest point total in the league and don't make the playoffs. But like when we're squeezing a team into the playoffs because they had like the 5th most points, I don't know. I'm not that impressed. I don't feel like you were robbed.
Yeah, it is often a team that's top 3 or 4. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Again, it's not perfect, but head to head is just I mean it's way so luck based, and of course that's how it is in the playoffs.
Hey,
so that's why I like
NFL
to carry over three weeks. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
This is nice. This is nice from OTG. Nice circle back. Started playing fantasy football 2006. Listening to, oh man, that was a crew.
And a Niner guy too. Appreciate this guy.
Nice. Switched to ESPN where you followed Harris. Yeah, that was a good move. Thank you. I'm just reading aloud. People can read for themselves, but that is very kind of you. Thank you so much. And this is undoubtedly true. That Brad Evans guy is still loud.
I was going to say it was
still really loud. One of the funny things about Brad Evans, really like a genuine friend, a good person, genuine friend. He's exactly that guy, like off camera. I don't know. I've met a few people over the years who have a completely different persona on camera, and it seems over the top, and it turns out to really be over the top, and they're very quiet off camera. Brad just does not shut up and does not dial it down. He is the same guy in any setting.
Oh, unquestionably, yes. Love Brad. I haven't seen him in person in far too long.
Oh, you should see him. He's a pageant.
You too,
He's,
for that matter,
glorious.
Andy. Yeah, you too, for that matter. How is the
I-
50K Taco Bell run? And I see another comment up here. How is that coming?
It's I haven't done like a load up on food and then go for a long run yet, like a legit long run yet. I need to do that. I have done about every week or 2 weeks I'll do a run where like I have a Taco Bell entree, and then I go 3 miles, and then I have another entree, and I go 2 miles, and then another, and then I go 1 mile. You know,
Nice.
I do that stuff, but I haven't thrown in like a legit long run, like 12 miles, 14 miles, 15 miles, and loaded up on Taco Bell in front of it. So I feel like that's my next bar to clear. I'm not concerned about it because again, I enjoy the Taco Bell. That's not like, I feel like the way they package it in the description of these races, this is an ultra marathon that I'm doing in like 10 months that is a little over 30 miles, and you have to stop at 10 different Taco Bells and eat something at 9 of them along the way. And like most people seem repulsed by the idea of doing that. This will not even be close to the most Taco Bell that I have consumed in like a 7 or 8 hour period. So I'm not intimidated by the food consumption. It is the running more than that.
You know, Benson has a comment up here that said Dalton got hot sauce in his eye during the Taco Bell 50K run, is why I referenced that. And honestly, I just have to tell this story. When I was taking Carly out, one of our first dates, back when I was eating Taco Bell, we were eating. I shouldn't say one of our first dates to Taco Bell, but actually we had been dating for a while. We're sitting in the car, and I opened one of the hot sauces, and it squirted upward and like really tight, like, you know, it's hard to get those. Shot directly into now that I think about it, my left eye, the one that I just suffered this ulcer. And you should have her tell you the story sometime in person, Andy. But let's just say I didn't handle the hot sauce in my eye well, and I probably looked like a complete guy on drugs breaking into the Taco Bell saying, "I need water," and like my eyes all red and I couldn't see. And I don't handle pain well, as I was telling you off camera. But this was a yes. So I may have actually caused my eye problem just 20 years later.
Were you shrieking? Were you trying to hold it together?
No, I've been with her long enough to not hide it.
Oh, you weren't really courting anymore. I guess you weren't courting if you're eating Taco Bell.
No, exactly. That's what I was saying. Yeah, no, it was. Trust me, the story would be even funnier if you saw this in person. It was not my best moment.
OTG again. 14 teams. TD only. TD only. Hell yeah. But man, you just don't see it that often. You just don't see many TD only leagues for bench. I told him that you have to make crazy moves. Chris on Sunday live stream said don't do it, but I did. Bench Pickens for McLaurin and Kittle. I mean, I will say, like, you got to. I think my point was, in a TD only league, you have to do some unusual stuff, right? Like, it's not. I mean, we obviously don't rank for TD only because it's basically you and 13 other people in this one league that play it. It's pretty rare, so like you're not going to find content out there for it, but you know, it does. It changes things more than PPR changes things. I mean, if we're literally only shooting for touchdowns, all of a sudden. Colby Parkinson is like the best tight end in football in your league, and he kind of sort of matters in other leagues, right? Like it's wild. Do you when is the last time, or have you ever played in a TD only league, Dalton?
I played in some really odd formats, but I cannot remember a last TD only at all. What about yourself?
I've played in one. I was about to say that I've never done it, but that would have been a lie. I did play in one. Before like a career ago, I wasn't even, you know, I wasn't writing yet. I wasn't freelance writing yet. I wasn't doing anything of the sort. I don't even think I had known Chris. It was like the second league that I ever played in was it was like a workplace league, and it was TD only, and it was really aggravating because even then, like earlier mid 90s, that like. But fantasy football draft guides were being published, and not one of them had any suggestions for touchdown only leagues. I mean, fantasy had at least already moved to yardage and touchdowns. But the earliest of leagues actually did, that is how they scored. They were just like touchdowns and field goals.
Sure.
Let's see here. Okay, so now this is the TD only league. Do I double down and bench Pickens versus the Chargers? Options include London, McLaurin, and Kittle. I mean, man, Kittle is such a good bet to score in any week, and I would never tell you to start George Kittle over some of these wide receivers otherwise. I don't know. Like this, so Drake London, the one bit of good news injury-wise that I didn't really get to in the injury segment, Drake London looking good. I mean, it's Monday, who knows? But Drake London kind of targeting this week for a return. Matchups don't get much better than... I mean, every Arizona game is a shootout. It's not like Arizona is the absolute best passing matchup, but every Arizona game is gets to a silly point total, and they put up numbers in garbage time, and they all seem to go the same way. So Drake London seems like a good option to me. George Kittle seems like a good option to me. I don't know. How do you read this?
Yeah, to me, it would be between Pickens and McLaurin. Dak's so tough at home. Don't love the matchup for either of them. But, I mean, I would probably go back to Pickens and move McLaurin to my bench of those four if London looks good.
Let's see. So thankful I saw Rome was inactive. Yeah, this is one of those things where, like, I saw it, and I actually had a league in which I did pretty well in the opening round of the fantasy playoffs, but I am going to lose in the stacked league, and I don't think the outcome would have changed if I'd actually gotten. Maybe if I have both DJ Moore and Luther Burden in that league. I didn't start either one of them at flex. It was a dicey flex call. Started David Montgomery, who was fine, right? Scored a touchdown. It was fine. But I think I would have moved. I would have gotten it wrong. I would have moved Burden into my lineup over Montgomery, I think, and that would have basically been a push. I was pretty done with DJ Moore, so I don't think I really would have done that. He's
what
hanging
a
on to
throw!
the roster.
What a throw, huh? That second
throw.
TD across the field. That was one of the best throws of the weekend.
I don't even know what to. I hardly know what to say about it because I didn't while it was in the air.
Oh yeah, no. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's a little bit back over toward the middle of the field. But I mean, he put it over the defenders. It's not like it went through people's hands. Like it was crazy on target from the platform from which he threw it. It's a crazy throw. I don't know. This has been obviously it's been an enjoyable year as a Bears fan, but sometimes like he's thrown a bunch of touchdown passes this year that I'm not sure should have been thrown, but they're just absolute darts. And then he'll still miss guys. Like it's not like he's having a shockingly accurate year. Although I do want to say he like at least 4 of the incompletions against Cleveland hit the intended receiver in both hands, and it was brutally cold, brutally cold. And I will never tell you to like make a lineup decision based on cold weather. I just want to say I went for like a very short run, that like a 3-mile nothing run that morning, and it was almost intolerable. Like lucky to not get frostbite. Kind of real feel might have been like -12 or 15 or something like that when I was running. It was no joke. So
yeah, they said it felt like -13. That's crazy. Fewest interceptions over a quarterback's first 1,000 attempts ever. Caleb Williams. Fewest interceptions.
I know I talked about this a fair amount last year, but like last year he should have thrown more interceptions. He actually should have given people more chances to make plays. He was, sure. I think at some point, and I don't know if it was Waldron, I don't know if it was Eberflus, I don't know who put it in his head that the absolute worst thing you can do on my team is throw an interception, but somebody put it in his head, and to a fault. He was not giving his guys chances to make plays in situations that were like, it's man coverage, it's a me versus you opportunity, and give me a shot, and he was consistently not giving people shots. So I the way I think of it is there is definitely a world where he throws 6 more interceptions last year and has a much better season, and we would have all been totally. Like it's a fine talking point, but I don't know. I feel like that reflects a tendency that is not going to serve him well long term, and he's kind of shed it a little bit this year, and I'm glad he has.
No, I hear you. It's not necessarily ideal to have a 0%. It means you're not taking any risks. I get it.
Yeah. What's up, Tootsie Pop? I don't believe that. I don't think you're getting Cole in your playoff stockings this year. I don't believe that for a moment. Hey, thanks for enjoying. Here we go. Dalton, how do you feel about the Niners' chances in the playoffs? I'm sorry, did I miss the Niners clinching a playoff berth?
Yeah, it was kind of tough to who do you root for, the Rams and Lions. I'm happy with the Lions loss because I'm just want to make sure the Niners make the playoffs before hoping for a higher seed. But I believe if the Rams lose Thursday night in Seattle, possibly without Adams, the Niners control the destiny for the 1 seed, which is kind of wild. But yeah, so they could lose in Indy though. They could lose all 3 of these, the Bears and then the Seahawks. I mean, they don't have an easy schedule. Their defense does not have the horses to win a title this year. Saleh, is doing a hell of a job coaching. But I don't know.
Biggest fantasy mistake that I made in week 15 was thinking, oh, that's Cam Ward. Surely a team that never sacks the quarterback will at least get to Cam Ward 3 times. And I got nothing. Out of the Niners. And then they hemorrhaged points at the end of that game too, which they've done a few times.
Yeah, no, I think the Rams are would be the heavy favorites if they matched up. But the Eagles are vulnerable. The Packers just lost Parsons. Lions may not even make it. It's a wide open year. So looking forward to it, but I don't have some expectations of the Niners to run through the NFC by any means at all. So many injuries on defense, really. I mean, if Warner and Bosa are it's tough, and they have holes for sure.
That Niners Bears game is a sneaky big game.
Oh.
Just in terms of playoff seed and where you go or who you host, right? That's a crazy big game.
Does seem like Darnold's showing some cracks here for about 5-6 weeks now.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like every single team has some vulnerability, but maybe not the Rams do feel like the most for sure complete team right now.
Let's get to that game after this question. Asking what we think of Dowdle. Was the injury serious and how did it impact playing time? He came back very quickly after. This is not. I will say this is not a primary game for me, and I haven't rewatched it yet. I got through 6 games today, and this was not one of them. But they were talking about him like he was dead on the field, and then he came back shortly thereafter. So I'm not exactly sure how the snaps shook out between him and Hubbard.
He took over. He was back to being the lead guy. So if he's good to go this week, but I mean, obviously these things change weekly, but I'm pretty sure he's considered kind of the one. But that said, DK Metcalf is, I love him this week at Detroit. That is just such a pass funnel, and they're getting lit up lately. So many injuries indoors. I mean, my preliminary ranks, I moved DK way up to wide receiver 11 right now. I like him quite a bit indoors in that.
Yeah,
matchup.
I'm anxious to see what tonight looks like because 2 weeks ago was such a dramatic departure for the Steelers from everything they've done all year. Right? We had Aaron Rodgers. We had an Aaron Rodgers rushing touchdown, which cannot happen tonight. I can't. That definitely can't happen. Yeah. I know I can't stand an Aaron Rodgers rushing touchdown. I'll never survive that. And then DK getting targeted downfield, which has just not been part of the profile for him.
Insane. They went 6 weeks without a downfield past 20 yards, and then they completed 4 in that game. So yeah, they're going to have to against Detroit. They're going to simply have to. Detroit to put up points. I love that setup, man.
So you mentioned the Seattle Indy game. Thoughts on Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, he nearly pulled off the upset, all underneath stuff. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor had 17 touches in the first half, and he was throwing to Abdullah out of the backfield too. I think that the pass catchers, it was a tough matchup, but they're, borderline untrustable in the fantasy playoffs. Yes, I see a question here. Parkinson over Tyler Warren. My answer is yes. But impressive for not playing for 5 years and being 44 years old. And he didn't get killed. He could barely move. A lot of, the shotgun and stuff affects the run game too. It's pretty, a tell there in a way, but I don't know. It was worth one of the games I was most interested in watching, and he didn't make a fool of himself. Frankly, it was rather impressive in a way, but no, he wasn't like it's kind of a situation they're not sure how tenable it is. So, like, you look at the targets,
Right.
it was all within 9 yards. It's tough to have a functionable offense there. So in one hand, I'm impressed. On the other, the Colts are, in big trouble, and all the pass catchers on your fantasy teams are as well.
Yeah, I basically feel the same way, and that's a great defense. That is a great defense they were facing, and he looked better than I thought he was going to look. I thought I was starting Seattle everywhere. I paid up for him in DFS. I was like, oh, we're getting 5 sacks in this one, and we're getting 3 turnovers. That man has not played at this level in half a decade. And he looked. This is not intended as flattery, but he looked like end stage Phillip Rivers. He looked like the last version of Phillip Rivers that we saw. Hasn't really changed substantially from that, and even that to me was very impressive. He was also like diagnosing some things at the line of scrimmage and got them into some stuff that worked. That was very impressive. That would be impressive for a player of any age because he just showed up, right? Like he'd been there a few days. So
that's the other thing, exactly. Not just his age and the layoff, but he just showed up exactly in his going environment in Seattle. And his numbers would have looked a lot better had Josh Downs located a ball. He threw up. It was like 50-yard touchdown. Right. And Downs was wide open. He just looked out, couldn't see it. And he could have located it, and that would have been another 50-yard touchdown pass. And, boy, that would have changed his box score.
But I will say the ball sure comes out of his hand. Like
floater.
Everything's a floater. It is just different velocity from what you see almost everywhere else. Kirk Cousins is closing in on that, but he's not quite at the. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say for a miles per hour on Phillip Rivers. It ain't much. It is. It's like the final few games of Peyton Manning. After years of injuries, it didn't look great, but he made it work, and they could have won that game. Should have won that game. Yeah. Maybe should have won that game.
Yeah, these teams got the kickoff is what killed them. They made that field goal to go up, and they kicked it off. All Seattle had to go was like 12 yards to get in field goal range, especially when your kicker can boot it from 60. Teams need to really figure that the whole kickoff game becomes so important in in-game situations.
This is we covered this earlier at the top. It is certainly possible.
Doesn't it kind of feel like he is when the coach says that, he aggravated?
Generally speaking, when a coach says all options are on the table, they're really talking about. They're really zeroing in on the worst option.
Yeah.
And I'd be surprised, considering the fact that I'm assuming that this is like a stress reaction and not an actual fracture. I don't think they would have tried to get him to go if it was a legit fracture in his foot. That would be that's gross negligence, right? And you simply didn't need it against the Browns. But so maybe it's a stress reaction, something like that. He should get 3 weeks off, and we should see Rome in the playoffs. That should be what they do. I trust now that'll be what they do after. Hopefully he didn't aggravate. Hopefully he just felt it and was like, "Oh, that's bad. I shouldn't be feeling it." Hopefully he didn't make it substantially worse. It was a crazy idea that he was even likely to go in that game.
Andy, in a dynasty, Mike Tagg's industry dynasty league before the season, I offered, and it was quickly accepted, Rome Odunze, Caleb Johnson, and a first-round pick next year for Trevion Henderson and Brian Robinson, and I couldn't have felt dumber the first 6 weeks. Like, I wouldn't even admit to it on here. Like, I was embarrassed. I mean, Rome Odunze was getting ranked as a top 12 receiver each week, and Henderson was, splitting work, whatever. Thankfully, I did call the Caleb part, but a first-round pick is just huge in Dynasty, but that has turned dramatically. Hopefully, Odunze will be fine, settle in and be a very solid contributor, but truth or burden may take over there. And my guy Henderson has really came on. So that's actually one of the craziest trades of me being like legitimately thought I would made the worst trade ever to now I'm like pumped, about it. And I was the 1 seed, so hopefully the number 1 pick next year the first round pick will be a late one too. But Henderson going wild is really helped me.
This is a crazy Henderson season because he
wild.
He was the bust of the first half of the season.
I think he leads Offensive Rookie Player of the Year odds. I think I saw someone say that he's now the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yes, and he was it's crazy. Yes,
and it wasn't
poor Judkins and Genty. The Spider-Man meme. It's not their fault at all. But man, Henderson has 4 touchdown runs of 50+ yards. No other player in the league has more than 2, and he's tied Saquon for the most ever by a rookie. I mean, this is special stuff.
It is really wild because I do feel like there are people who are sort of rewriting the first half of the season.
It was a disaster. Yeah.
There are a lot of people out there who are like, if only the coaching staff could have seen this early. No,
he couldn't
that guy
block.
played his way off the field. That guy could not. That guy could not pass block. He
didn't have good rushing metrics either. You know, it's one thing like you could complain to the coach. No. He was not good in any format of the game of football. And then something clicked around the bye. And if Stevenson doesn't suffer turf toe, maybe it never happens. You know, I mean that 100%. But boy, thankfully it has. And I was worried if they were going to be able to run with the offensive line injuries because I know Buffalo is vulnerable in the interior. I wasn't convinced they were going to be able to. But that cutback 67 yarder, man, that was sick.
And he's also he's just crazy fast. So if he gets into open space and he's dead even with everybody who's pursuing him, he's going to score. He's absolutely going to score. Question for you: would you put Kenneth Walker on the bench in favor of either Corum or Devontae Smith?
I'd have to look at the matchup. Well, not Devonta Smith. I'd play against Washington this week over Corum. Kenneth Walker is just you're done with Kenneth Walker. Sure, bench him for anyone you want. I mean, he had 5 carries for 6 yards at halftime. They're at home against their 14-point favorites against. I guess my guy Buckner returned, and that really helped the Colts' run defense. But man, Walker has been the ultimate. This is going to be the weak guy. Well, I guess Justin Jefferson's right there too, but I don't blame you for benching anyone at Walker at this stage. But it's a tougher matchup for Corum.
This is. Man, I'm so happy to have Benson in these chats. Benson will bring some takes to these chats. The Mahomes injury sucks so bad right when me and my fellow haters were going to get to celebrate the end of the paper champ. Wow, what a thing to say. Stupid Patrick gets hurt. So now we have to look lame for spiking it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a pretty legitimate player. It's a terrible injury in part because it's we don't get to see Patrick Mahomes for the rest of the season, but
next year,
man, late season ACL. Apparently, it's just the ACL. There's not other damage to worry about with this.
Not IU.
I don't know. I guess that's good. But man, mid-December puts him. We're only like 9 months out when it's time to really play next year. He's a quarterback, so oftentimes we do see quarterbacks come back from ACLs and knee injuries earlier than other positions. I don't know. You hate to think of Patrick Mahomes not having a normal offseason, not having a normal camp. And of course you hate to think about this as obviously Benson doesn't hate to think about it this way, but I don't know, it'd be a little misty if we don't get, if the Mahomes Kelsey thing doesn't get to. I guess last year it played its way out on the field and they legitimately lost. But I don't know. That would be the end of an era. It's not guaranteed yet though.
Eerily similar career path as Tom Brady. You see this? Same amount of Super Bowl rings, same age, same years in the league when they suffered the torn ACL. I mean, that's we'll see if Mahomes
obviously the year that Brady tore the ACL. Number one, it was the start of the season, and they won 11 games. That was a damn good team. It was a fluke that they didn't make the playoffs that year with Matt Castle.
Oh, don't get me started on that. My guy Matt Castle, who my friend beat in a race in USC, famously one night back when he was in college, backing up Leinart, I believe. But Castle, that team went 11-5. And faced a historically tough opposing pass defenses with the backup QB and didn't make the playoffs. That's a crazy team. Wild. 11 wins, didn't make the playoffs. Crazy schedule, and had Castle for the whole year. That was when thought Belichick was the GOAT.
Oh yeah, that was
his best part of his resume was that year.
Incredible season, absolutely incredible season. This is a good question. Kyle Monongai's goal line success ended, no TD or 2-point conversion. Do you guys see a TD next week versus the Parsons-less Packers? Monongai was rough because he dropped 2 passes, one of which
that screen would have gone. Yeah, still
it would have popped, right? Yeah. There's one guy
opening drive, I think.
Opening drive. There's it is very well blocked. There's 3 linemen out front and only 2 guys to block, and it probably goes. And it was one of 2 just layup screens that he dropped on the day. I mean, that is the Right now, if you want one thing, and this has been true all season, we've been talking about it, but like if you want one trait that separates him from DeAndre Swift definitively, it's that they don't trust him as a receiver. I mean, they tried to get him going. Again, brutally cold conditions, but we're talking about a ball that had traveled like 6 yards. And was just floating into his hands, and he, turned his head upfield and dropped it. He's just not been great as a receiver, and that is the characteristic that is separating him from DeAndre Swift, who looked awesome against. They ran some fun stuff that I don't think I've seen this year from the Bears too, and DeAndre was really thriving in it. So. I mean, but the other thing is, it's certainly possible, and they are a very run-committed team.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
It's not like Green Bay really like completely shut them down a couple weeks ago on the ground. I mean, this is the way it's going to go for the Bears this year. If they have a little early rushing success and they can get away with rushing the ball 35, 40 times, that's what they'll do. They'd love the game to go that way against Green Bay, and. They'd love to dominate time of possession in that thing, and they'd love to run it to death. And if they run it to death, there's a path for Monangai to get to like 15 carries. And if he gets 15 carries, he's got a really good shot at finding the end zone. So that's like, if it goes according to script, which, things get blown up all the time in the NFL, and the Packers are good on defense without Parsons. He's just such a massive difference maker. And he without necessarily putting up numbers against the Bears a couple of weeks ago, he really blew up a couple of situations for Caleb.
Yeah, I said to start both Swift and Monangai last week in the deep shot column, and Monangai would have looked a lot better had he just secured that 5-yard pass. But what a setup they had there. The Bears just want to run. The Browns are not going to put up any points, and the Browns are vulnerable against the run since Malik Collins went down. I mean, we saw Tony Pollard go crazy, and obviously the Bears just did again. So they consider that in future matchups, that their run defense is, fading a bit without Collins.
Myles Garrett is such a freak, and he might be. I wouldn't blame him. He might be in get to the quarterback mode right now, and not. It's possible that Myles Garrett isn't. I
think he's playing through like a real hip injury too, but he says he'll play through anything now. 1.5 sacks away, so yeah, he'll get there.
He was so good. How bad of a jinx is it if you have the bye week and you root for the weaker team to win tonight? See your next. No, that's how this is.
I hear what you're saying. No karma. I believe in fantasy karma for sure. Before I forget, real quick, what Garrett's doing is just insane because his team's always losing and there's no pass rush situation. So it's really incredible to get sacks like in the situation he's in. But no, I do believe in fantasy karma. I hear what this guy's saying. I think it's fine to root for it, but I hear what you're saying. I hear you there. I do believe in that.
Circling back, Benson says he did meet Brad Evans and he was a truly genuine person.
Right.
Yeah.
That's no act.
Yeah. None of it is an act. It screams, oh, this guy's a fraud. This is an act. But he's the same way at the bar. He's the same way. Like, I don't know. I'm in a fantasy auction with him every year, and man, you should see Brad Evans like 5-6 drinks in as an auctioneer. It's wild. We should
and he'll have action on any random whack Mac game, on 8:30 in a West Coast, a college basketball game. I love it. He's always got action on something.
Yeah,
he's the best.
You are welcome, Stephen. Thank you for jumping in.
My Warriors, what is happening? God, man, it's been ugly, Andy. Kuminga benched. It's not going exactly as I had planned here.
Kuminga seems like he's taking that well.
Yeah, well, I've finally thrown in the towel there, but man, after that Butler trade last year, they were so much better defensively. I really expected to have a deep run in the playoffs. They may not even make it. It's been ugly, and we're wasting Curry brilliance. 12 threes. I didn't watch the game on Sunday, but he went crazy yesterday. Sad.
A dozen threes is it's a pretty good total. It's an impressive total. Feeney Fighter says, I'm in this abusive relationship with Devontae Smith wherein I see the good in him and I feel it's not his fault, but he keeps hurting me. Yeah, I see the good in him too. And my God, the matchup ahead is so good. One of the nice things about the Eagles still is that it's still just 3 guys who are going to put up the points, maybe 3.5 if we count Goddard, but it's not a lot of people. There's going to be a Devontae Smith week out there, and the matchups just simply don't get better than Washington.
Yeah, low end wide receiver too. I think you got to play him. The Eagles are such a frustrating offense, just maddening. I mean, Saquon Barkley had 20 carries for 50 yards before he broke off a long run. I mean, just with the best game script at home against the Raiders, they just can't. Lane Johnson's return will maybe, hopefully, really help there. But yeah, I hear you with Devonta Smith. He's just one of those guys. Spike weeks and then down weeks.
Hello, Kevin. Been a long time since he did a TD only league. Happily switched it up in the 90s. Yeah, it has been a while. There can't be many hanging out there. But again, it was the original form of fantasy, and I do respect it. This is an essential question from Kevin Payne. How far do you push Pitts back with London coming back? I'm quite certain I had Kyle Pitts ranked inappropriately last week. I probably had him tight end 10, tight end 11. I mean, he'd put up some yardage totals. I still wasn't, you know what I didn't fully account for was this phenomenon wherein Kirk Cousins just absolutely tears apart the Bucs' squishy soft zone defense, which he did again. This is 10 touchdowns for him in his last 3 games over the last 2. Literally the only team that he has looked functional against in the last 2 years is the Tampa Bay Bucs. And I was like, no, I'm not buying it. Surely the Bucs will adjust to Kirk Cousins absolutely owning them, and they did not in any way. So I'm probably going to leave Kyle Pitts in roughly the range that I had him because it was the wrong range. But he's probably going to be around tight end 10 or 11. Where do you have him?
Looking at this, I have him at tight end 3. McBride and Kittle are obvious, and not even sure I would move him any lower if London returns because the options are Fannin is getting all the work. Okay, maybe against Buffalo. Brock Bowers is at Houston. What is their implied point total this week in the single digits? Maybe it was 12.5 against the Eagles. So I mean, my guy Parkinson. I mean, you don't want to start Tyler Warren over him, and then Kelsey with Minshew. I mean, I bumped up Darren Waller against Cincinnati, who suddenly stopped tight ends last week. But wait till you see this week's tight end ranks. I mean, I think Pitts will be a top 3, 4-ish guy still in a matchup in Arizona that could be quite fun.
Can we? I haven't found a question on it yet, but can we talk about Cincinnati first? Like, what the hell was that? Was that like just a reflection of this new emo Joe Burrow situation? Like, that is by far the worst game that I've seen Joe Burrow play when healthy. I know that we've seen some bumps in the road from Joe Burrow when he's dealt with injuries and tried to play through them, but that was a legit terrible game. And if that had been a rookie putting up that performance, I would have been like, I don't know if this guy can stick in the league. It was that bad. The interceptions were terrible. It was like 225 empty yards. Just lost, disinterested. Just a absolutely brutal game. Didn't even challenge Baltimore. I don't know. How are you treating it? Are you treating it as a one-off, or are you treating it as, I mean, it's kind of in the range of outcomes now, and I would not have imagined it before.
I guess I'm perking up just a little bit because he led into that week with comments, basically suggesting that retirement wasn't out of the question. He's not having fun playing the game. And then I haven't seen this one, but I guess his press conference after this performance, he said that any team in the NFL would have lost had he been quarterback today. So it doesn't sound like he's having fun or enjoying himself, and hopefully we don't have another Andrew Luck situation. I guess some of the quotes are very, very similar to stuff that Luck was saying before he called it quits. But I want Burrow to be in the league and thrive, and it's sucks to see. I didn't expect that coming with the way Baltimore defense had been playing, and I thought that we'd have a fun shootout. And the weird thing about that game is they kind of ruined the Ravens too. That 6 pick, the Ravens, that pick 6 gave the Ravens the ball like a minute, the final 20 minutes. They had the ball. They ran 40 plays. I mean, how many?
Yeah, we got no dropbacks out of Lamar, so there was no opportunity for everybody was like, oh, likely and Andrews are going to go off against this historically terrible
2 targets
defense to tight ends.
I think they totaled 2 targets.
There weren't any dropbacks. Yeah. There weren't any pass attempts. It wasn't even.
Just a disaster. But hopefully it's a blip, and get T. Higgins back. But yeah, it's something to at least pay attention to with when you look at, also combine them with Burrow's off-field comments.
Thank you for appreciating my Rudolph. Yes, this is indeed the most festive of live streams. Okay, here's a legitimate question. We'll close this with a couple of legitimate questions. Help me replace Devontae Adams next week, please. Yeah, I don't think they've ruled out Devontae Adams, but he briefly looked like he was dead on the field. So I would be shocked if Devontae comes back. So it's Jordan Addison in a great matchup with a suddenly frisky quarterback. It's Jaden Reed versus the Bears, potentially Christian Watson out, or Rashid Shaheed. I think this would be Addison for me, given the quality of play that we have seen from JJ McCarthy over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, that guy's made some throws. I think it's been fine, and he's looking for Addison deep. And they hit on one. They hit on one this past week. So I think I would lean Addison. It would come down a little bit to the Christian Watson situation, though.
How does your Chicago Kyler Gordon? Is he good or bad in the slot? I haven't followed up on that because that would be what I would come down. Looks like they've how have they defended the slot? Oh, they've been pretty weak. Like second most fantasy points to the slot this season. But I know Gordon's been in and out, so I'm not sure there. But that could be a sneaky good one for Jaden Reed there, especially with no Watson possibly. So those would be tough, though. I hear you. Addison is a good matchup, and McCarthy's been throwing it to anyone but Jefferson. So I'd kind of decide on those two later this week. If you hit me back on Twitter, but not Rashid Shaheed Thursday night.
Yeah, they. I think Kyler Gordon's on IR. So
okay.
The Bears secondary is it's not great. They did get Jalen Johnson back, and he's great.
Right, he's more outside though, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He he had Jerry Jeudy in coverage on that hilarious play where one of the good throws from Shador that hit Jerry Jeudy in the chest and bounced to Jalen Johnson.
Yeah. Jaden Reed could absorb some targets there, but the banged up. Your guy Golden did make a nice play downfield though, and I don't know what happened to Wick, but if Watson misses a game, I think that would be a nice little boost for Reed.
I can't believe that the Bears are gonna they were blitzing like crazy against Jordan Love and putting some guys who just simply couldn't run with Christian Watson in single coverage, and it wasn't working. Those same guys can't run with Matthew Golden, so it is possible that if they have the same approach against the same team, they could continue to get scorched deep.
And for what it's worth, Love entered last week. Lord Reeves' stat, the most sensitive to pressure quarterback in the league is YPA went from second best to second worst when pressured entering last week. And the Bears have struggled in that area, I believe, this season.
Yeah. They are not without sending everyone. They're not really getting to quarterbacks this year.
That'd be a fun one, though. How do you feel? Are we feeling good, though? I mean, no Parsons. I mean,
they're mad. They feel like they should have won 2 weeks ago, and you heard it in the locker room after the game.
They're underdogs. I'm seeing right now. Oh, 1.5 point dogs at home. Come on.
They're steamed. Like it had the Browns game had the recipe of a trap game because they were fired up that they lost that game. They've right. You rarely hear a Bears player interviewed who doesn't drop in a note of disappointment at the way things ended a couple weeks ago. So I know they do not take the Packers lightly, and they are fired up for it. So I think it's going to be either the Bears are going to win by like 10 points or it's going to be a very close game. I would legitimately be shocked if the Bears got stomped by Green Bay in that one.
No, me too. No, they've proven that they belong for sure. That Ben Johnson deserves Coach of the Year. Very impressive. It's not often that you win the offseason and then it goes as planned,
Yeah. No, that's fair. Still need a win or two down the stretch here. This is actually one of the biggest questions of the week, and I feel this in my own fantasy portfolio. How are we feeling about Rashee Rice with Gardner Minshew?
We're feeling less confident. Obviously, it's not ideal. But what does help is Tennessee's just become the league's one of the most extreme pass funnel. That's why I've loaded up on Purdy and Jennings and Kittle this last week. They are legitimately a pretty good run defense. So they're going to have to be throwing more this game. So Rice, he's still you're not benching Rice. I wouldn't bench him in that offense with Minshew. I mean, I will probably have him ranked as a top 12 fantasy wide receiver given the alternatives in his role.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 10 to 15 range for me, so probably about the same place. Yeah. Won by 1.8 points on that. Congrats to you on that Brandon Aubrey field goal. Brandon Aubrey, by the way, should have had a touchdown pass. They ran that great fake early in the game, and he picked up a first down, which was fine. But I think was it Schoonmaker? It was one of the non-Ferguson tight ends.
Yeah.
but wide ass open. Absolutely should have been a touchdown. I mean, he's a kicker, so he didn't throw it. Whatever, it's fine. But that would have been fantastic if you already had the win secure because you got a touchdown pass out of your kicker. The essential question here is, do they go back to Joe Burrow?
To go back to is Burrow this week.
And I can only answer this with like who's on the waiver wire and like I don't know.
Let's go back to Burrow.
Yeah.
My QB4 preliminary at Miami. Miami's sneakily been better against the run. Watch them get ran all over tonight. Right after I say that, but
Miami can get eliminated tonight, right? Miami loses, they're eliminated.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which might change the equation for Miami. I don't
that'll be
think
a fun one in good weather. That'll be a high scoring game. I go Burrow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Burrow really goes out as poorly as he just played. So I think you probably stick with Burrow. What if this person is in a league in which Jacoby Brissett is on the wire, though? How would you feel about that?
That would be close, but I would stick with Burrow. Yeah, the over-under in that game's the highest of the week, next 50.5 points. I like a shootout there. And I like playing guys coming off bad games. I actually prefer that when they're stars. So, no, I would stick with Burrow. As much as Brissett, no QB had ever finished top 12 in any week this season against Houston. And then Brissett, missing Marvin Harrison Jr., goes in there and does it, barring tonight. He needs neither of these two to surpass him. But what a season. He's averaging 1 million dropbacks per game. It's crazy.
He's averaging over 48 dropbacks per game. This is 6 straight games with 40 or more pass attempts. That's just crazy. I haven't done the math on what percentage of it is garbage time, but like they were down 30-7 and he was just getting started last week. This is like every week for the Cardinals. It's crazy.
And Michael Wilson's awesome. I did not see that coming.
Yep.
Even the week against the Rams, he put up a big first half. It wasn't just all garbage time. He's really good. And that'll be the key to this week to a lot of people's lineups is if Harrison returns or not, because how high can you, Wilson's going to be a wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7, this week if Harrison's out.
Let's go out on this note. You're welcome. Man, Harold Fannin, like stumbling into this situation where he is both the number 1 and number 2 option seemingly for Shedeur Sanders is crazy. Crazy target total in this one. Almost all of it short range stuff. But this is the ending to the season that Harold Fannin deserves because I thought he looked sensational early in the year, and I couldn't believe the way they came out of the gates with Fannin. So he's been one of the success stories for me this year.
Yeah, I saw him. He has as many targets as one of the star receivers. I forgot, but he's racking up targets this year. No Njoku, fire him up as a top 5 fantasy tight end down the stretch. One thing before we go is Shedeur Sanders has like the highest pressure rate of all time. That's a QB stat, right? That's him holding onto the ball, causing the pressure. Right? I understand Cleveland's offensive line is devastated, but that is Shedeur Sanders causing the pressure, right? I
wouldn't put it all on him because they have a lot of short stuff in that offense. Like most of it is quick game, or at least that's what it felt like to me. But that line is, we've seen it in the performance of Quinshon Judkins.
Sure.
Like that line is legit terrible. It can be both. It doesn't.
It could be.
It
both.
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
It's a beautiful pass to Bond. He's absolutely played at moments better than I expected. Don't get me wrong, but I was just he's literally getting pressured almost like half his dropbacks, and it's got to be partially on him.
That's probably going to do it for us. We actually went a little bit over this time because it was fun. It was a good conversation. Good to have you back. Glad you're feeling better, Dalton. Guys, if you're watching this thing and you're a subscriber, join us in the Discord for the watch along tonight. They're always fun. Monday Night Football watch alongs are a blast. You can observe me being a nervous wreck, waiting for. It's inevitable that Aaron Rodgers is going to finish at like 17.8 fantasy points. But what if he doesn't? What if he finishes with 15 and I win? That'll be glorious. That'll be great. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks to Dalton. Thanks for everybody who jumped in. Thanks for subscribing, watching, reading, whatever it is you do. Thanks for being here.
Cheers, all.